We've all seen it. The person on social media who seems to become a millionaire overnight. One day, you've never heard of them, and the next, they've got brands and businesses just popping up out of nowhere, looking like they've been around for years.
Right? When you can't see the journey, when there's no story of struggle and hard work and growth, it usually means there's a different kind of story happening, one that's playing out in the shadows. So today, we are prying open the file on money laundering.
And to really get a handle on this, you gotta go way back. All the way back to the guy who, kind of by accident, gave this crime its name. So picture this, it's the 1920s, and Al Capone is making an absolute fortune. We're talking $60 million a year. In today's money, that's nearly $1 billion. But it was all cash, from illegal booze. He couldn't just walk into a bank and deposit it. So what did he do? His solution was actually kind of genius in its simplicity. He opened a chain of cash-only laundromats. It was the perfect front, the perfect business to mix his dirty money with clean cash from everyday people, literally washing his profits. And that right there is the #1 problem for any major criminal. You can't just take millions of dollars in dirty cash and dump it into a checking account. The government is watching for huge transactions like that, and they're going to start asking questions like, hey, where did all this come from? So the money has to be cleaned first. You have to create a believable, legitimate story for where it came from. So for decades, organized crime basically perfected this classic 3-part formula to wash their cash. The whole point of the system is to make it as confusing and complicated as humanly possible, to create a financial maze that's almost impossible to track. The strategy is all about 3 things: confuse, disguise, and legitimize. First, you've got placement. That's where they break down these huge piles of cash into thousands of tiny little deposits that fly under the radar. Then comes the real magic, layering. The money gets moved through this insane web of transactions, bounced from bank to bank, shot across different countries, used to buy and sell stuff until its original source is totally buried. And finally, you have integration. The money slips back into the real economy, looking like clean profit from some legit-looking company. But, this classic way is a ton of work, so criminals they got a lot more creative. And that's what brings us to today. See, the most effective money laundering schemes, they're not hiding in the dark anymore. They're hiding in plain sight, using the glamour of Hollywood and the hype of those viral brands you see everywhere. Okay, let's play this out. Imagine a big movie comes out, it's a genuine hit, and it makes a very respectable $10 million in profit. Well, the producers, who are backed by dirty money, can just turn around and declare that the movie actually made $100 million. I mean, the movie was a real success, so who's going to argue with the exact number? And boom, just like that, they've cleanly injected $90 million of illegal cash right into the studio's official books. And this isn't some crazy theory. The producers of The Wolf of Wall Street got caught up in a massive scheme that worked exactly like this. Then you've got something that people call germ brands. You know what I'm talking about. These are the little food spots or drink shops that seem to just explode out of nowhere. No history, no build-up, but from the day they open, there are huge lines snaking down the block. They're just instantly, unbelievably successful. It's pure theater. The whole thing is a performance. Those long lines you see, a lot of the time, they're filled with people who are literally paid to just stand there, to create buzz and make it look like the place is a gold mine. This gives them the perfect cover to report massively inflated profits to the government, cleaning huge amounts of dirty cash day in and day out. And this exact same logic applies to those super high-end fashion boutiques, the ones selling a dress for $500,000. You can walk by them every day and never see a single customer inside, but somehow they stay in business. That's because the sales are often completely made up. They only exist on paper as a way to turn illicit funds into legitimate revenue. But maybe the most sophisticated, most 21st century method. It doesn't need a storefront. It doesn't need a Hollywood blockbuster. Nope. All it needs is a smartphone and a live stream. So, to get this, you first have to understand how TikTok's whole gift system works. When a creator is live, their fans can buy these virtual gifts for them. And some of these gifts are incredibly expensive. But here's the catch. The creator doesn't get all that money. TikTok takes a huge cut, somewhere around 40 to 50% before paying out the rest. The thing you have to realize is that this is a completely coordinated operation. The TikToker on screen, the so-called agency, and the thousands of fans sending those expensive gifts, they're all on the same team. The whole live stream is a show, designed for one purpose: to move dirty money through TikTok's legitimate payment system. The cash goes in dirty, It takes that big 50% hit from TikTok's fee, and then it comes out the other side as clean taxable income for a content creator. Money that can now be used to buy a house or to fund other illegal operations without anyone batting an eye.
I mean, the whole scam kind of falls apart when you just apply a little bit of simple logic, right? Real millionaires are smart with their money. They don't just throw away nearly half of it on platform fees. If someone really wanted to give a creator a bunch of money, they'd just transfer it directly. A system with a fee this big is really only useful for one thing: paying a high price to make illegal money look legal. So why does any of this matter? It might seem like some clever, victimless financial game, but this isn't just numbers on a screen. This money has a dark and very real origin.
A 2017 estimate, and this was years ago, found that up to $4 trillion are laundered across the globe every single year. Just try to wrap your head around that number and imagine what it must look like today with all these new digital laundromats running 24/7.
Because every single dollar that gets cleaned through a fake movie profit, a staged TikTok stream, or a phony designer boutique, it directly fuels these horrifying, real-world crimes. Money laundering isn't some victimless trick. It is the engine that allows the world's most dangerous criminal organizations to operate, to expand, and to thrive. It's how they turn illicit profits into legitimate power. Once you start to understand these hidden methods, it really changes how you see the world around you. That viral brand, that flashy influencer, that surprise blockbuster movie. There might be a very different story going on behind the scenes. And a lot of the time, the story behind the money, well, that's the only one that truly matters.